thank you all for coming. You guys are really awesome for showing up. I honestly did not expect this many people to come. But as Bill mentioned, I have the attendance of a small college convention and that I should do some sort of panel. I'm calling it. It's a workshop. It's not a real convention, I promise.
It's a convention away from a convention.
Yes, it's the con away from con. All right.
If it gets any bigger, the park's gonna kick us out.
I've called them and I told them no worries.
I don't want to get
They wanted their van just passed.
That's an unmarked white van. It's okay.
It's bad.
If they give you candy, don't
from
take
them.
it.
You had the blue pill or the red pill?
Right. So I figured today, I'm just basically going to talk about the fundamentals of cosplay photography and contacting a photographer versus, you know, not contacting a photographer. All right. Who here is a photographer? How many people are photographers? All right, a few people. A few people. And a lot of people are cosplayers.
No need
Cosplayers, how many of you have done professional photo shoots with people that you have contacted? Only a few. How many people want to?
Everyone's hand should be
lot
up.
more
Everyone's hand should be
Okay.
up, actually. There we go. That's better.
All right, the first thing you have to do when contacting a photographer is talk to them.
Please.
We don't bite. We're not all the time. We come up to you and ask for photo shoots. If you see us in the middle of a photo shoot at a convention, don't butt in. Wait until we're done. But normally before cons, people will be putting up schedules that they can do for conventions, and I'm terrible at public speaking.
Yeah.
But I have another. Yeah, I have another photographer here who's helping me with this. And also, we're gonna go from the cosplayers' point of view. We got two cosplayers here who also take pictures, and they'll be talking about from the cosplayers' point of view, talking to photographers and how to pose for photos. Because I know that's a lot of issues. That's something that people have issues with.
Hitting Deadpool.
All right, cool.
When you got stop. Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm not a photographer, but I'm going to talk about like some of the basics of being at a photo shoot and contacting a photographer. We'll start with contacting a photographer. Usually it's always like, I guess it's a good idea to like, I mean, if they ask for a price, like just give them your price range. And a lot of times like photographers will be willing to work with you. Also, it's really helpful either at the convention when you meet up or before to send your photographer reference pictures, because they can't be the only one thinking of like ways to pose you. You have to like have some ideas for them, because again, it's not just a one person effort. It's not like you just stand in front of a camera and they take your picture. Like if you're gonna take a picture of a cosplay, I feel like you should really embody that character. So it's a good idea to know what their personality's like, know like what settings you would want to be in to get your picture taken, and emotions, like what, like just how they move, everything like that. And the photographer will work with you. Like it's also good to maybe like, if you're gonna contact a photographer, what I always do is like, there's people who book photo shoots like months in advance before a con. I at least like contact my photographer like a week before the convention to get their contact information and to try to set up a meeting spot, because if you're at a convention center, chances are maybe your cell phone reception is gonna be kind of shitty. So you always want to be able to have like a backup plan or like a set spot or something like that, just in case like you can't really like get in contact with them. It's always good to just like have a place to meet up.
Another thing is during photo shoots, make sure you communicate with your photographer. We can't know if you want a specific type of photo. We're gonna tell you, all right, can you lift your chin a little bit, or talk to them, say, I have this issue with myself when I'm taking photos. Can you help me by, you know, getting rid of that for the photo shoot? Because I know some people that have a tendency to dip their head when they're doing pictures, and sometimes you'll lose your neck, and that's not what you want. You don't want to look like you have neck on top of shoulders.
Plan out your poses. If you have a bunch of things you want to do, like she said, know your character. Knowing your character is probably the most important thing. How they behave, how they pose. Look at reference pictures yourself. I role play some of my characters beforehand. I have like 18 Twitter accounts just to get into character a little bit before con. But it's very important to know beforehand, and you could tell your photographer and share with them, because there is a good chance your photographer might not know your character. There's a million characters out there, and maybe they've only seen a little bit. Maybe they've seen the bad version and you're doing the good version. If there's two different versions of a show, you have to talk to them. It's very, very important. And don't be afraid if you don't like something. If you're like, I don't like that side, I like this, I don't like profile shots. So I will tell, I keep turning with her. I keep turning my head just slightly, and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't like profile shots. I'd rather 45 or straight on. Okay, that's something you can work with. You have to communicate.
And there's another thing that's part of posing. Like sometimes if a photographer wants to put you like at a certain angle, like sometimes they'll like walk over to you and just like move like your face or something. I mean, one, it's like good if you don't like that contact. So like you could just say like, move me as minimally as possible, but sometimes it's essential, like, because if, like, some photographers just know what a good picture is going to look like, and if they need to, like, turn your head or turn your waist so that shows off the majority of your costume, let them. But if you don't trust them or if you haven't worked with them enough, like, it's not a problem if you could just, like, reject them touching you, but it helps to get a good picture.
Touch. I know.
Cosplay does not equal consent.
Exactly. I've had some people during photo shoots tell me, all right, this is my good side, only take pictures from here. You also have to know when to compromise, because sometimes when we're taking pictures, we can't use that side at some angles because of lighting or something like that. It becomes a lot more difficult to do a photo shoot of someone if you can only take pictures from one side at one angle, because that's where you like it. You gotta trust your photographers a little bit to be able to take some good shots.
Yeah, one thing is cosplayers. One thing I need to emphasize is if you have any insecurities, scars, if there's an imperfection in your cosplay, tell your photographer so we can avoid it. I don't want someone getting in contact with me after a shoot being like, oh, I don't like this shot because I don't like my nose. I'm like, I can't fix your nose. I'm sorry, I can't fix that in post.
I'm not a plastic surgeon.
Sorry guys, but if you have an insecurity, tell us. Because we can work magic with posing, angles, lighting, anything. You just need to communicate. That is the most important part of photography in the first place.
And even after a photo, some photographers don't have like heavy duty editing software. Sometimes they just rely on like Flash or something like that. If you have Photoshop, don't be afraid to ask them for like the raw, I guess, photo. Like say you've got like me, I've got a Gorilla Glue stain on my thing. I can easily ask for one of them to give me like a raw photo, and I could edit it out so you don't see it. Or you could just tell them like, hey, can you just check to make sure like if I have any makeup on my cloak or anything else, and they'll be more than happy to get it out for you, because they want I'm sure they don't want like any like rough anything on their picture. So
yeah, and that's once again goes with communicating with your photographers. I know a lot of people that want a lot of photo editing, and then I know a lot of people who don't want any on their pictures. It's a good thing to let them know beforehand. That way, and when you get your shots, you're not surprised by, oh wow, that doesn't look how I expected it. You want to be able to talk to them.
You guys are beating me to everything I'm gonna say. I was like, oh, nope, there goes that point. Up there, yep, yeah. Okay. But honestly, have fun with the shoot. It honestly will make it go better for everybody. If you're enjoying it, you're going to relax a little more. You're going to get into the character a little better. Find out if you get a photographer that you mesh with, you can joke around with them. Nikita likes dirt pictures. A lot of her pictures are not serious, and it makes you more comfortable. And then guess what? You give some of your better work that way. When you're like, all right, I could joke around with the photographer, get a rapport with them, talk to them a little bit, get to know them. When you get there, you can, trust me, you'll work better. I work so much better like 10, 15 minutes into a photo shoot. Once I'm like, all right, I know how they work, I know how they are. Just feel them out and get to know them a little bit.
Don't actually feel them out.
Yeah, don't actually feel them out, because
You started
You
it.
need an
did
adult! TSA.
if I can add, like, if you're also working with a photographer for the first time and you mesh really well with them, like they'll probably come to you for a photo shoot. You probably won't even have to ask. So it's always good to befriend your photographer and just bounce ideas off them and have fun with them. Because at the end of the day, you're not just getting your picture to like put on your fan page that you can look amazing. Like being in cosplay is about making friends and expanding like your circle of friends. And that's cosplayers, photographers, people in the artist alley. It's like befriend everybody, don't take anybody for granted, because it's not just you and the cosplay, it's the photographers that record you that also help you get to where you are.
Yes, as an example, I did a photo shoot of a gender bent panty and stocking photo shoot, all right? Now, you know them, they are very extravagant, out there, they're touchy-feely. These people were extremely stiff. It was their first professional photo shoot. What I did to make things fun is I taught them how to pole dance.
That works.
Yes.
I remember that.
She remembers that because I made her hold my camera and made her pose on a pole. But if you talk to your photographers and basically you make each other laugh, you're gonna work so much better, loosen each other up, not physically, and you will have a lot more fun and get a lot of higher quality photos.
Sometimes physically.
Sometimes, no.
And if you're looking for a photographer, ask your friends. I have friends I ask all the time because I work with Nikita 90% of the time because she's one of my best friends. But I've been, trying to expand my circle a little bit also because she's busy. And I've talked to certain people and they're, I really like these 2 photographers, these 4 photographers. I've liked everybody. I wasn't so comfortable, and I might not have a problem with that person that they had a problem with, but it's good to know things. It's like, when we were in college, you had that website we used to look up your teachers so you know whose class not to take. Talk to your friends, because trust me, the photographers are doing the same thing. They know who they really want to work with because they talk to other photographers. So do the same thing with other cosplayers.
Manny touches me.
We can talk bad about Manny, 'cause he's not here, right?
Yes.
One thing we want to talk about is posing for your photographers. Besides just being relaxed and getting into character, when you're getting into character, do not lose your body in the process. There's one thing you can do where if you're doing a 3/4 of the way pose, you can push your shoulder forward so you can still see some of your outfit. There's a lot of things and tricks you can do with your face. What best thing to do is look in a mirror. The photographer is looking at you. You need to look at you too. Figure out which way it's best to pose your head, your neck, your shoulders. So find a mirror and talk to it for like half an hour.
Basically find the best way to optimize all that you have on. Like if you want to take a side shot, like make sure that you have like one foot out like apart from the other so you can see like your boots or your shoes or whatever. Shoulders forward. Show off as much of your face as you can depending on the shot, so just in case you're wearing makeup, blah blah blah.
And another thing going off that for photographers as well, don't cut off your model's limbs. We do not want to make them look like amputees. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if someone actually has an arm, you want to see it.
We don't want them to be the Black Knight from Monty
I've seen
Python.
some people that have taken pictures like this, and it looks like their hand's coming out of their arm. And I'm like, is it really that short, or?
I'm special.
As a photographer, you have to be a little bit aware of where their body parts are, but as a cosplayer, you have to be aware too. You can't just because you want to hold the sword, don't hold your hand up in front of your face. Drop it down a little bit. It's like move the position just a little bit so you can get the best view.
Ultimately, just be aware of your body.
And your cosplay. Be aware of your cosplay. Like this bunches. So before I go to take pictures, I make sure I pull this down. I change a pose, I pull this down. Because I don't want to get back later and have all my pictures have this in it. So be aware of your own cosplay and what it has a tendency to do.
It's a good idea maybe to bring like a tiny little mirror, like a compact mirror, to like check your makeup, make sure that like your face is clean, because sometimes you can't see it and sometimes your photographer can't. So just make sure that you've got a way to like check to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Also, put away con badges.
Yes, yes. No one wants to see lanyards hanging out anywhere.
If anybody went to Comic-Con, they had their lanyards had little retractable things. Those are the best. Hook them to your belt, put them in the back, under your coat, under your arm, inside your shirt. Shannon put one up her skirt once. And you just put it where, when she was soccer, she had it hooked to her shorts and she'd pull it out like this. They don't require you to show it all the time. They really don't at the con. Nobody's ever bothered me and mine has never been showing. Find a place for it. The retractable things are great because the last thing you want to do is get halfway through your photo shoot and realize your con badge was hanging out. And it's like, shit, now I have to do all those poses over again.
Or if you don't want it attached to you, like put it on your bag. Just like tie it around like the handle of your bag.
Oh my God, there are so many people here. This is a thing.
I know.
Sorry.
You should have known what you were getting into. Just saying.
Once again, does anyone else have anything to add? As I'm losing my ability to not talk.
Drink more.
Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? I know there are a bunch of photographers here and a bunch of cosplayers. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have questions. Feel free at any point to come up to other people and talk because we're not gonna bite hard.
I love her some blinger.
Unless you're me.
Unless you're her. Don't go up to her. All right, once again, thank you all for coming to my event. I'm very happy and surprised that so many people came. As he just informed me, there are 117 people here, and I just kind of melted on the inside.
Oh, yeah. Yay! Why would we not? We really need to give her a hand of applause for like.
Oh, by the way, the 120 friends are coming shortly.
Okay.
120 people.
All right, guys, go back to photo shoots. I will be walking around taking more pictures. Find me. I don't think you can miss me.
I have to find if anybody
The only
else
one in the
wants
bright
this.